Y'all, here at OS Reviews, you're watching our video first look and hands-on review of the CloudEye live camera. This is a project that will soon be live on Indiegogo, and it wants to hit around $60. It claims to be the world's smallest cloud-connected or Wi-Fi camera, about the size of your finger, and it comes with a 2-megapixel sensor capable of capturing HD video content, and of course live streaming it or using it as a security camera or a DIY camera as you see fit. So take a look at what the packaging contains. Here's first kind of a ad or a video that will quickly be put also on the Indiegogo and Kickstarter campaigns. What's interesting is that the unit does have LED lights on the front, so it can be illuminated for you to see in darker environments. And of course, since it is so small, you can program it in a number of ways. Use it as a dashboard cam for cars, for bikes, for security purposes, for baby monitoring, and the applications just go on and on. So it's quite smart in that sense. And it seems like there's also going to be some kind of integrated battery, or maybe you can plug in a power bank for enhanced use, because of course the battery capacity should be quite small. On the front, the dimensions are just 1.5 centimeters, so this thing is tiny, about the size of a thumb, just by looking at the front. So this is the box, so pretty simple. Everything seems to be looks like in Chinese, and there's also English on the back. It's called the CloudEye micro camera, and then this is the app that you can scan using QR code and download for the phone. It works with both iOS and Android. You can control it, of course, using your phone and monitor things anywhere in the world whenever you have a Wi-Fi connection. So again, this thing is tiny. That's the 2-megapixel HD sensor, the 4 LED lights, and then the color of the unit can be changed. It's made out of PBS plastic, and there's also a little lanyard strap that you can hang it onto something like a keychain. Very small keys for maybe power and cycling between different modes, micro USB for power for charging. So that's it. All right, so taking a look at other contents, we have just a micro USB cable in the box for, again, charging and power, and that's it. So very simple. All right, let's take a closer look at the app next. So taking this out of the demo mode and going home, I've already downloaded the app. It's simply called CloudEye, but it's in Chinese at the moment. Hopefully they'll have a translated version as it gets closer to the full retail version. You can see the app here is pretty simple. You can go back home, and then the first time that you sign in, you can create an account name and also a password. It acts as a kind of a security measure so that no one else can look at your images or videos. And afterwards, you can also see some kind of recommended examples of video feeds. So these people have set their profile to public, which means that other people can see their feeds, and that's why it's popping up here, kind of like a social network. Up top, I can tap on share, which can share segments of your video to friends on WeChat, Twitter, or Facebook. This actually takes you into their store link, and that loads up some other products that they're trying to integrate this into, or pre-made devices. You can 3D print all types of stuff that can be compatible with this in the future, but this is just the CloudEye, and then there's also a pre-made, what looks like a 3D ball that has tons of these cameras on all directions, glasses, all types of stuff that will integrate this into other products that they're coming out with. Contacts, again, people that you can share your CloudEye with. Popular interactive forum, again, like social media, some people sharing their feeds. And then also your profile settings. You can upload certain files. It seems like you have 5 gigs of cloud storage built on in. And that 5 gigabytes is important because, as the name suggests, this is a cloud camera, the CloudEye. There isn't a micro SD card slot, so you don't have to store things offline. There's actually no way to store it offline, so all of your data is encrypted and backed onto the cloud. It's simple, but at the same time, people wanting more memory will probably have to pay a little bit of extra to get that content, or at least to then store it into a local file, so it takes a second step. We have it connected, and before we talk about performance, I want to do kind of a quick, almost comical size comparison. This is the Litro light field camera. It's a name that sounds familiar because this was a project that was released a few years back, but we want to do a kind of closer review that's going to be coming up on this channel. But it has a very similar shape. It's also shaped like a tube, and you can see how next to the CloudEye, it's absolutely tiny. So the CloudEye can stack, I don't know, maybe 20 or 30 inside of this container. So that's how small this thing really is. So right now you can see that I have it plugged into power, and you can see that everything is working. It's connected using Wi-Fi. And again, the quality really isn't that bad for something so tiny. It does have a IR or an infrared mode in addition to having the lights. So you can still see things in the dark under night vision, which is pretty cool. Now it does have a built-in battery. Unfortunately, it's only 180 milliamp hours. So it's only going to get you less than, 45 minutes, closer probably to 30 minutes of performance before it completely dies, since it will be connected to the internet. So it's really meant for emergency situations in that case, or if you have it on a bike for a really short trip. If you're in the car, you should probably plug it into power at all times, and also the same thing when you're using it at home. But if you do lose power very quickly, then it should still capture a few moments before the battery drains. Mostly for backup purposes, I would say. So these very small controls, there's actually a little printout on the buttons. It's kind of hard to make out on this camera, but this one is for power. You can hold on it for a few seconds to turn it on. There's also a reset symbol, so you can tap on that to reset it back to factory settings. Going back to the app here, we can see that the orientation, there's just one, there's no accelerometer, so make sure you put it facing upwards, and then you can see your surroundings, and it's doing actually a pretty good job. The camera isn't really wide angle, but it does capture a decent amount. You have to be, I would say, at least a feet away from most objects for it to capture it properly, but you can see there's not too much lag. There's a little bit of latency, but again, everything is being transferred using Wi-Fi through the company's servers if you want this to be connected to your home router, or you can connect to it directly using Wi-Fi, but then of course that kind of defeats the purpose of a cloud camera. The app here, very simple interface. In the viewfinder, I can take a look at the brightness controls. I can also take a look at the timestamp. I can turn the light on or off manually, so with it on, you can see that this is what it looks like. So pretty interesting. And if we turn it back off again, it will transition itself automatically into kind of the infrared mode. If there's a little bit of light in the background, it can still kind of make out most objects. So it does a decent job even under low light environments, which is kind of interesting. So it records video up to 720p. I can tap on this and that begins recording files to the cloud up to, again, 5 gigabytes. And I can also take an image if I want to. If I'm satisfied, I can take a look at my gallery and then take a look at this, share it, or of course delete it, and then go back. So how the connection process works is also pretty simple. Once this is connected to the internet, you can find it in the camera list just by, in this main home key down below here. Connect to a CloudEye, and then you'll find it in this list. You can actually manage more than one CloudEye as well, and when you're satisfied, you'll find it opened up in the viewfinder. You can see that some things are still going to be in Chinese, like day of the week. Unfortunately, again, these are software elements that the company is still working on refining in the final version for consumer use. All right, so taking a look at some sample images before we end this video, you can tell that although the quality isn't by any means exceptional, when viewed back on a phone, on a smaller display, it actually does a pretty good job. Keep in mind, this is a fixed focus camera, just like on any GoPro action camera or security cam. So objects that are really up close aren't going to be always in focus. It's not meant to compete with a more professional camera. It's not meant to replace a phone, but for capturing those emergency shots for some, again, security purposes, you can definitely make out text, and the colors and everything are pretty good under good lighting environments. Everything is right now transferred over Wi-Fi, which is why it seems a little bit slower, but you can of course store these locally as well. Some other objects, and this is a painting that I captured. Again, colors look pretty natural, even though details aren't going to be really excellent, just because the sensor is so small. And again, it is only 2 megapixels, but you get the idea that under good lighting environments, it works decently. So again, some other samples. Alright, so that's been our video first look and hands-on review of the CloudEye. This claims to be the smallest cloud-connected camera in the world. I think it's actually quite cute, and for the size, surprisingly functional. You have a good array of features, from built-in 4 LED lights to having it be integrated into future products the company is coming out with. The fact that it has a built-in battery is also quite smart for backup purposes, and it seems actually to be well made considering that it's so small. The plastic seems actually to be quite stable, it's colorful, it's playful, and you can of course use it for a security cam and disguise it in another object really easily, or repurpose it for some other type of DIY project. And I think it makes a lot of sense. You can check out more details about this in the Indiegogo and Kickstarter campaign down below, but for now this has been our video. Thanks for watching here at OS Reviews. This has been the CloudEye Micro Wi-Fi camera.